Okay, so you have checked your stomach now, and you may have recognized that you may have a Diastasis Recti. So Diastasis Recti is any more than 3 or so fingers. So what can you do when you're working out and this is you? So it doesn't mean that you can't work out. No. It's just something to be aware of. And I want you to be aware of it, of every aspect, everything you're doing in your life. So thinking about even things of getting in and out of bed, like coming straight up. So if you're laying down and you sit straight up, you're going to put pressure on it. So we want to make sure that we roll onto our side and get out of bed that way. So exercise-wise, I want you to it's really great to exercise in a crop top or a sports bra or something, because then you can see your tummy and you can be aware of it. So that's what I would recommend to do, and you can check it. So you can always be looking, if you happen to work out anywhere near mirrors, then you can be looking at your stomach, or you could actually, if you were in a downward position, you could place a little mirror on the ground and then you can see what your tummy's doing. It's really important, and again, the more awareness that you have, you can be the awareness is the key. Once you're aware of where things are at, you'll be able to really progress without damaging yourself even further. So why do we need to be mindful of this when we are working out? So Diastasis Recti is a separation that we have in our stomach as when we are pregnant, and it's just not come back together. So everyone is at all different stages, and we've just got to work continually to bring it back together. Or to make sure that there is times that it might not come back together, but you can still exercise safely with a highly functioning Diastasis Recti, so that you're not bulging or pushing through. So again, awareness is the key. So what we want to do is, if this is you, when you're doing any workouts, you want to mostly be on your back, because anything in a downward position, we're hanging out, or we just want to make sure that if you are in that downward position, that you are able to control and see where your tummy's at, and that where your separation is, it's not hanging out, if that makes sense. So you want to be mindful of that. When you are doing exercise, as I said, be in a crop top, then you can see your tummy. So if it's an exercise where we're, say, going opposite arm to opposite leg, and you can see your tummy bulging, so bulging in any way, so a coning or a bulge that you may see, you need to drop it back, okay? So we need to drop it back until it gets stronger, that part is not bulging out. So as we said, when you are pregnant, have your babies, our tummy has to separate to make room for the baby, and then it comes back in. So it may not come all the way back in, but anything more than 3 fingers. So let's say this is a separation that we have, and if we are not working on, if we're not aware of it, we are continually putting pressure on there. So then that's why you might feel like quite weak in the core. You might feel unstable, and those types of things. So then we want to make sure that we're not doing anything, because there's this thin lining, and you keep pushing against it, and we keep pushing and pushing against it, and it just stretches. So that's why we're working on now bringing it back together. So we don't want to keep pushing. We don't want to keep pushing and putting pressure on that thin lining by doing like exercises that there's lots of alternatives that you can do that will get you the same results without putting pressure on that area, and it will help bring it back together. So just make sure you are aware, if you do have that's the things I want you to be looking for. I want you to be looking to make sure that you are not coning in any exercise you do. If you do, you need to strip it back another level and just speak to me about it, because I'll be able to help you. Just make sure that when you're in a downward position, the same thing, that we're pulling everything on from our core, that nothing's hanging out. You are aware that you're holding all of that in place. And the same thing, that you might say the exercise might go for 30 seconds and you might be able to hold it and do it for 10 seconds. Well, that's fine, because you'll be able to build up from that. Okay, so just remember, awareness is the key. Once you have this awareness of where your body's at, we've just got to work with it and stick to it and be consistent, and that's how you're going to get results. Okay, so once you realize, if you realize that you are in the case that you do have a Diastasis Recti, we will work on it, we will bring it back together, but we just got to be mindful of it, and we don't want to push it anymore. So anything you're doing, anything, like I said, if you're laying down, getting up from laying down, you're jumping around with your kids, you're doing anything, you're slouching, all of those things, it all contributes to that. So that's what we're going to be working on and becoming more aware of.